Hey guys, Cameron here, and today we're going to do something personal. This is something I've been working on for a while, and today, I think it's about time I produce it. This is The Little Horrors of Poetry, a poems book which I've written by myself and has been waiting to publish. Sadly, my illustrator, who I will not name, has not finished, but if you're watching this, illustrator, get on it. Today, I'm going to give you guys a preview and read out all 20 poems that are illustrated in this one document which I have positioned on my laptop. Shall we begin? I'm Cameron Nicol, and this is my reading of The Little Horrors of Poetry. Written by Cameron J. Nicol and illustrated by Beep. The first poem I have for you guys is Crisp the Baker. In his life as a baker, he loved to cook, until he cranked the oven too high and it took away his look. So do be careful, bakers, if you place 3 biscuits in a row. They say crisp appears to bury you in dough. This is a story of a baker who sadly lost his face, but he now curses all bakers. So yeah, next one is The Sham, Monster of the Night. Think like a Pennywise, dark thing. Anyways. Weary parent, do be careful where you lay your child at night. The sham tricks the weary-headed and revels in the night. So plump their pillow with some care in case your vision lies, and the sham claims their helpless souls as soon as they close their eyes. That was the story of that was the poem of The Sham, a monster which I actually had some experience. Some of these poems are based off true stories which I found out. The Sham is no exception. My best friend, Jamie, he had an issue a few years ago where he said that a big black shape would stand in his bedroom and stare at him while he sleeps. That creeped him out. So yeah, that one's for you, Jamie. The next one is The Headless Hunter. In life he was always jealous of that he could not own, but when he heard his friends' stories, both his head and mind were blown. So do be careful, friends, if your tales are known about. Your pride calls upon the hunter to put you in the ground. So the headless hunter is kind of like the headless horseman, but his sins are jealous because of how unbelievably humid he is. He heard his friends' stories, and that cost him not only his head, but also his pride. So if you tell like a great story, or you're a bit cocky, the hunter shall come for you. The next one is The Old Sea Captain. And the Old Sea Captain, even though this poem makes it sound like it's a man, it's actually a woman. Yeah, a woman captain. So here it is. Upon a sea of black and blue, the captain did once sail, until it brought her ship to its knees with rain, lightning, and hail. Now she wanders along the shore, her heart driven with spite, and offers young folk to join her crew down in eternal night. So that was The Old Sea Captain. Think like something from Pirates of the Caribbean. The next one we have is Axe Jack. Axe Jack is a rare case of lumberjack syndrome. Something all lumberjacks feared of. While you put the trees under the axe, what if somebody put the axe under you? So let's see. Nobody knew what awful act caused poor Jack's demise, or what unholy reason he had from the cold earth to rise. But with the axe still in his back and his eyes pale as white, he now stalks all the lumbers to see his wrongs made right. Right, well. Just remember what can happen, lumberjacks, if you go chopping in the woods. The next one I have is The Well-Wisher. This shows the struggles of being someone who no one likes. Imagine if you were physically thrown down a well. Well, this happened to this poor little girl. So, let's see. Cast a penny and make a wish, so the girl had been told, until she leaned a bit too close and sadly lost her hold. Did she fall or was she pushed? No one knew her name. But the girl's soul still seeks amazement with every life it claims. So yeah, that was The Well-Wisher, the story of a young girl who died, or that actually is a true story. I was in Lewis this one time, and there was actually a story of a girl who fell down an old well, and they say her spirit still haunted that well. I don't know, but I just overheard it. So let's see the next one. The next one is Miss Rose. The struggles what happens when you go gardening. A ghost that's tale is lost in time and whose gravesite no one knows. But something is for certain, upon it grew a rose. Now she wanders the earth alone with each victim that you'll find entwined within prickled thorns, mangled in her vines. So that was Miss Rose. Miss Rose is a clear story of gardening, which I think is important because you never know what's going to happen, what will happen before you die. But if there's any consolation, Miss Rose is actually one of my favourite poems of this whole list. Next up is The Lonely Miner. The Lonely Miner, I've dated back to the days when men still had to work in mining quarries. So yeah, here it is. In the darkest of caves, in the deepest of mines, you sometimes hear a sound. It's the breaking sound of stone with a pickaxe to the ground. But shine a light, nothing's there. Could it be your mind playing games? Or is it the ghost of the lonely miner moaning out in pain? So that was The Lonely Miner. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. It's just I love reading these out. Next is Starving Sue. Starving Sue is mainly about cannibalism, but it is very sad. Stomach rumbles and flesh turned green and not a meal to face, until she tasted human flesh and grew to love the taste. So lock your doors very tight unless you want to be a corpse. It will save you from Sue, so you're not her main course. So Starving Sue's probably another one of the rare cases that you might go crazy if you've not eaten in a while. But I say you're pretty much safe as long as you can just, well, eat. Sorry, my throat gets really sore. So, throat gets sore from reading poems? Drink a Pepsi. Next up is The Lost Boy. The Lost Boy is actually based off another story I heard. This was another story I heard down in Lewis about a house which was haunted by the soul of a little boy. He was playing in the field one day, but soon he disappeared, as if he'd been taken right out of thin air. But watch your child closely, be it girl or boy, because he comes to and takes something much more than just a toy. So that was The Lost Boy, a story about a boy who goes missing, and to repent for people who didn't try to help him, he now kidnaps your child. So yeah, kind of like how The Sham does. The next one is The Lake Lady, another popular one. She tripped very unfortunately and sadly deeply drowned, and the water grabbed her by the leg and dragged her underground. Now every swimmer don't go jumping in the lake, because you're going for a dip. Could it be a grave mistake? The reason I've actually done something really clever. It's with alliteration. Instead of like grave, I've used like the symbolism like grave mistake. Get it? Grave mistake. It's both wordplay and alliteration. Next one is Chuckles the Clown. Chuckles the Clown is for anybody who has clown phobia. Like, personally, my sister's terrified of clowns, so... most of these stories are also based off phobias, and people are mostly scared of clowns. Horror movies like It and people like the Joker from Batman have constantly inspired this. I'm not sure why. Anyways, no matter what event, be it circus or parade, there's bound to be a clown who wants to play a game. But everything they say or something you want to hear, I know something for certain, Chuckles loves your fear. So much like how Pennywise feeds off the fear of his victims, Chuckles doesn't want to be loved by his audience, he wants to be feared. So illustrator, what I'm looking for is green hair and a perfect combination of how to inspire fear in a clown. This one isn't based off a monster. This one isn't based off anything I've seen or a monster. It's loosely based off something that everybody has trouble with, that one street. Kind of thing like Monster House or something. The house on 54th Street. On a street, there's a house with not many people, which not many people know, but it has a dark secret buried deep below. The cellar door chained up, sealed with a lock and key. Something lurks behind it, but there is no clue what it could be. So that's the house on 54th Street, a classic tale of an unknown secret being hidden under an average everyday house on an average everyday street. But is it so average? Who am I to say? I wrote these. Next one is The Caveman. Not Caveman, The Caveman. A classic tale why you don't go hiking alone. A man went wandering up a hill, he was all alone, till he wandered into a cave, and on the entrance fell a stone. Now a prisoner, trapped inside, is he dead? No one knows. All that is known about the hill is its cave sometimes groans. So yeah, that was The Caveman. You may think this is based off a story about a man who went walking up a hill and actually got trapped inside a cave, but it's not. This is purely my mind. Next one is the Hotel of Nightmares. If you've ever stayed in a hotel, you know, like a really rundown place instead of one of these big high-fly, you know you're going to see like earwigs, mice, and sometimes the casual cat who wanders up to eat leftovers. But sometimes it takes a lot more than that, so I went one step further and incorporated something truly terrifying into a hotel experience. Fancy a holiday? Not at this resort. It isn't like a hotel of any normal sort. It holds nightmares and terrible terrors never dreamed before behind its cracked windows and broken doors. So a nice family trip, this one I say abort and only go there if it's a last resort. This one's a bit more humid, but you still get it. If you've ever stayed in a hotel, you know that you're going to see like grime and mice. Well, I decided to take this one. Next one is The Fear of the Ice Cream Man. And Mr. Icy, I know sounds like an ice cream, but it's not. It's definitely a common fear of people. Like, have you ever been... Like, I know people who are scared of the ice cream man. I can't say these names, but you know, you get this old man sitting there. Want ice cream, little children? You can constantly get scared, and that possibly terrifies me. Want a tasty ice cream, perhaps a cold treat? Then hear the sound of the van driving down the street. It's Mr. Icy, cold-hearted and old. Keep hold of your child before he takes his frozen hold. So yeah, this is another case of a child getting taken and possibly turned into ice cream. Imagine that. After being kidnapped, you're turned into ice cream. The kids special. Just know, I may laugh and tell jokes and make references to stuff, but this is purely professional. I'm trying to keep a professional edge, but this is the Master Cam channel. I have to tell a few jokes to keep my audience entertained. Let's see, what's next? Oh, we've got a few left. Next one is Undead Pet. This one's a bit more common. Like, if you've ever had have you ever had that one pet you loved, but it sadly died, but you've always wanted it to come back, kind of like a Pet Cemetery scenario? Well, speaking of which, go see, I haven't seen it, but go see Pet Cemetery, based off the book by Stephen King, the new 2019 reboot. I've seen the trailer and it's creepy. Anyways, so, ran over by cars or shot dead, that's how all pets seem to go. But some the devil finds not worthy and sadly lets them go. So they wander the world alone, death they are not prone. Rotting and decaying like common filth, they continue to find a home. So that's a poem about how even though you have a loved one, they can come back in your heart. But sometimes if you want them to come back real soon, the devil will send back really bad pets back to Earth to wander the Earth alone. Next, this is a very common one, Dentist John. If you've ever heard of common fears like the dentist, like getting your teeth drilled in, this one's definitely one you can relate to. Always brush your teeth, keep them white and clean. Better than the surgery, the dentist is tall and mean. With a scalpel in one hand and the drill in the next, keep your mouth clean if you don't want to be hexed. So yeah, this one is for all yous who don't like going to the dentist but still want to keep your teeth clean so you don't have to deal with the creepiness of getting the drill. So, let's see what's next. Okay, we're nearing the end, so let's not speed for these, but let's at least say some context. The next one is countdowning. This one's a little bit more or less realistic. It's countdowning supposed to be like a vampire of sorts. Or, you know, a vampire which you can often find in sorry guys, I have to do something. I'm filming this on my phone, and sadly, its charge rate is awful. Screw you. Okay, we're back, and yeah. Anyways, so back to the reason I chose countdowning is because vampires are often found in mythology, and I think it's important to have a classic creature amongst all the new creatures which I've created. Only in tales that are lost in time do you ever hear a vampire's moan. Their thirst for blood is unholy, immortal, and they are alone. But asleep by day and awake by night, he begins to stalk. He'll bite into your neck until it snaps like common chalk. So countdowning is kind of like your everyday typical vampire. He roams around and then bites into your neck and snaps it like a piece of chalk. And you know how easy that is to break. Alright, this is the last poem. And one of my ones I'm most proud of. This is like a tribute to myself, because even though these poems are a tribute to like monsters and fears and stories I've heard, you gotta have one that's a tribute to the actual people who made it. This one's called The Dead Poet. Not the Dead Poet Society, just The Dead Poet. This, typing on his computer day after day, nothing could stop him typing or tear him away. So for years he continued writing poems all day until finally dawned on him and his soul flew away. Now let these poems sink in and their lessons keep you safe at night, because there will always be something to give you a fright. So that was The Dead Poet. A tribute to myself and to everybody who is going to watch this. Also, publishers who like these poems, I definitely consider contacting me. I don't know how, but for some reason, I think these poems could be the next big thing. So that was the Little Horrors of Poetry, and the only thing I can say is, sorry, I've got something in my eye. I swear to God, I don't know why this is happening. I put a lot of time and effort into making these poems, and once my illustrator gets done, I know these are going to be a big hit. Also, to all my fans, thank you so much for watching this video. I know some of my new videos have been lately shy-ish, but trust me, this is a wake-up call. I just needed to get this personal thing out, and then I can get back to my usual videos. But for now, I'm Cameron Nicol. You know what to do. Like, favorite, and subscribe. And also, purchase my book, The Little Horrors of Poetry, coming soon to a store near you. See ya.